The explosion of Earth's final events has been a building crescendo for years. Now, the United States has a president who has vowed to close the gap between church and state. Donald Trump ran on a platform to make America great again. It does not matter that many Americans of his own political party did not want him for president. The fact is, he won. The question everyone should be asking now is, how does Donald Trump plan to make America great again? One way Trump plans to transform America is by clearing the way for Christians to become more politically active. As reported by Time magazine, in a startling off-the-cuff speech to a gathering of pastors in Florida last week, Trump threw away his prepared remarks and promised, over and over, to give evangelical churches the power to essentially spend unlimited sums of tax-exempt money on politics. I said, "I'm going to take this into my own hands, and I'm going to figure a way that we can get you back your freedom of speech," Trump told the evangelical pastors. "It will be so great for the evangelicals, for the pastors, for the ministers, for the priests, for America." Trump promised that one of his first efforts as president would be to dismantle laws that keep Christian churches from spending tax-exempt money on political advocacy. He promised to vigorously attack a law that prevents tax-exempt organizations such as churches or educational institutions from endorsing political candidates. The ban on 501c3 charitable organizations from engaging in political advocacy has come to be known as the Johnson Amendment. "One of the absolute first things I'm going to do is work on totally knocking out the Johnson Amendment," he said. "The power you have is so enormous. It's not like you represent 2% of the country and it's going to be difficult. You're probably 75, 80%. If you want to put your full weight, I mean, can you imagine if all of your people start calling up the local congressman and the local senator?" Trump promised the evangelical pastors that by abolishing the prohibition on churches spending tax-exempt money on political advocacy, it would reverse the slow, steady decline in church attendance and public attitudes towards Christian beliefs in the United States. America now has a president who is creating an environment in which the image to the beast will be fully formed. Indeed, it has begun already.
What's happened to religion, if you look at what's happening to Christianity and you look at the number of people going to churches, and the evangelicals know this also, it's not on this kind of a climb, it's on this kind of a climb. Slow and steady in the wrong direction. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that you've been silenced. You've been silenced. Like a child has been silenced. You've been silenced. Strong.
Kenneth Copeland, who joined Bishop Tony Palmer in declaring the Protestant Reformation over, is a member of Donald Trump's Faith Advisory Council. In a live broadcast on the night of the 2016 presidential election, Copeland confidently declared that if God gave him a message for Donald Trump, Trump would listen and pay attention.
If something were to really strike my heart, if God really showed me something that I felt like, and that the Lord would say, "You deliver this,"
yeah.
I have no doubt but what I could deliver it. And that was not true in presidents past. Even though we had influence in some areas, in some ways.
Yeah.
But if the Lord were to say something to me in the other presidents, that what little I've had to do with them, I don't know. I don't know whether I could have ever gotten anybody to listen to me or not. But I am totally convinced that if the Lord were to say something to me, if the Lord were to say something to David, or if the Lord were to say something to Bishop that the president needs to hear, I have no doubt that we could do it and do it quickly.
Yes, sir.
and have audience to say, thus saith the Lord, and he wouldn't just turn it over to an aide or something and just write it off. He would listen, and it would mean something.
In this environment, it is but a small step to pass legislation favouring Christians. This may sound like a good thing, but in the very near future it will lead to laws that will impose the mark of the beast. Those who today are joining hands with Catholicism will tomorrow impose Roman Catholic doctrines on pain of death. When this happens, many will lose their lives standing for the truth.